So at some point in this field, you hit a wall. You're reading a disassembled binary, or you're looking at a buffer overflow exploit, or you're trying to understand what a piece of malware is actually doing under the hood. And everywhere you look, there's this weird looking code with registers and memory addresses and instructions that look like someone fell asleep on a keyboard. That's assembly. And instead of ignoring it and pretending it's not there, which is what most people do for way too long, tonight we're actually going in. I'll be honest with you about what assembly actually is before we start, because most explanations make it sound scarier than it needs to be. Every program you've ever run, your browser, your terminal, Wireshark, literally everything, gets compiled down to machine code before the CPU runs it. Machine code is just numbers that the CPU understands as instructions. Assembly is that same thing, but written in a form a human can actually read. MOV, push, pop, call, JMP, these are just human readable names for operations the CPU already does. The reason this matters specifically for security is that when you're reversing a binary, doing exploit development, analyzing malware, or trying to understand what a piece of shellcode does, you are reading assembly whether you want to or not. There's no source code. There's no Python to read. Just a disassembled output and you staring at each other. The people who can read that fluently have a completely different ceiling in this field than the people who can't. Now here's where most people go wrong immediately. They try to learn assembly in the abstract. Generic tutorials, toy programs, print hello world in assembly, that kind of thing. It's dry, and it gives you no intuition for why any of it matters. The right way is to learn it in context, which means learn it by reading real programs while you're learning to write simple ones, both at the same time. Here's how I'd actually do it. Start with the x86-64 architecture specifically. The resource I'd point you to first is the CS-APP book, Computer Systems: A Programmer's Perspective by Bryant and O'Halloran, specifically the assembly chapters. It's genuinely the best written explanation of how assembly relates to actual C code that exists, and understanding that relationship between C and assembly is more valuable than just memorizing instructions in isolation. You see a C function, and then you see what the compiler turns it into, and the connection between the two is where the real understanding comes from. Alongside that, use Godbolt Compiler Explorer, which is a free website where you write C code on the left and watch it compiled to assembly on the right in real time. Change one line of C and watch the assembly update immediately. This single tool accelerated my assembly understanding faster than anything else, because you're building intuition rather than just memorizing. Write a simple if statement. See what the conditional jump looks like. Write a loop. See how it becomes a compare and branch at the bottom. Write a function call. Watch the stack get set up. It becomes a game, and a genuinely addictive one at that. Once you can read basic assembly comfortably, the projects are where it gets actually exciting. The first one that'll blow your mind is writing your own shellcode from scratch. Shellcode is position-independent assembly code designed to be injected into a running process and executed. Writing it forces you to understand exactly what system calls are, how to invoke them directly, how to avoid null bytes that would terminate strings early, and how to make code that works regardless of where in memory it gets loaded. After that, use a disassembler on something you already know. Take a small C program you wrote yourself, compile it, then open it in Ghidra or Binary Ninja and read the disassembly. Because you wrote the original, you already know what it's supposed to do, which means you can focus entirely on reading the assembly output and verifying your understanding, instead of also trying to figure out what the program does at the same time. This is the fastest way to build reading fluency, and it transfers directly to the moment you're staring at malware or a binary with no source code. Then go to pwn.college. This is probably the single best free resource in this entire space, and I genuinely cannot oversell it. It's built by Arizona State University specifically for learning binary exploitation, and it starts from assembly basics and takes you all the way through stack exploitation, shell coding, return-oriented programming, and beyond. Every challenge gives you a real binary to work with, real tools, or real environment. It feels like a game, and it teaches you more per hour than almost anything else I've found. For YouTube, look up low-level learning. The channel name is exactly what it does. Assembly, memory, how CPUs actually work, all explained in a way that's actually engaging instead of feeling like a lecture you're trying to stay awake through. Pair that with Live Overflow's older videos on binary exploitation, and you have a curriculum that goes from zero to genuinely dangerous in this space. The honest truth about assembly is that you don't need to be able to write it fluently from memory to get real value from it. What you need is reading fluency, the ability to sit down with a disassembled binary and follow what's happening, identify functions, understand control flow, spot interesting patterns. That's achievable in a few months of consistent practice, and it opens doors in this field that stay closed to people who skip it entirely. The first step is just getting comfortable with what it looks like before you can start actually reading.
Still stuck in tutorial hell. We got full courses step by step as well. Web hacking labs, real attack flow. Not click here, actually break the code. Reverse engineering, crack moves inside. Gidra open, ego died. Bug bounty methods that actually scale. Find one vuln, that's grocery money mail. $29, that's it bro. Skill goes up, that's cyber flow. Python for hackers, C plus Spain. Build your own tools like this, that own. New course dropping every month. No content drought, we stack it up. Private Discord, killers in chat. Stuck on a bug, we fixed that.